The executive floor of McLoud Global smelled of stale coffee, expensive cologne, and panic. It was 11:45 p.m. on a Tuesday. The rest of the city of Chicago was winding down, lights flickering off in the apartment buildings across the river. But on the 42nd floor, the lights were blazing. Emillia Blanche pushed her heavy gray cart down the hallway. The wheels squeaked, a rhythmic squeak thud, that echoed in the empty corridor. Emillia was 27 years old, though the dark circles under her green eyes made her look older. Her uniform was a shapeless blue tunic that smelled faintly of lemon disinfectant. Her hair, a rich chestnut brown, was pulled back tightly under a hairnet, hiding the fact that it was silky and well cared for. To the people in this building, Emillia Blanche did not exist. She was a ghost, a machine that emptied trash cans and wiped away fingerprints. She paused outside the glass walls of the main conference room. Inside, it looked like a war zone. Papers were scattered across the mahogany table like fallen soldiers. Takeout boxes of uneaten sushi were piled in the corner, and pacing back and forth in front of a large screen was Josh McLoud. Josh was 32, the boy wonder of the tech world. He was handsome in a sharp, frantic way, messy dark hair, a tie that had been loosened hours ago, and sleeves rolled up to reveal tense forearms. Usually, Josh McLoud was the picture of confidence. He had been on the cover of Forbes. He had launched $3 billion apps. Tonight, however, he looked like a man watching his empire burn. Emillia hesitated. Her instructions were clear. Clean the conference room at midnight. Do not disturb the executives. But it was midnight, and he was still there. She watched through the glass. Josh was shouting into a speakerphone that sat in the center of the table. "I don't understand," Josh yelled, running a hand through his hair. "Tell them we are offering 20% equity." 20? That is, generous. Why are they threatening to pull the funding? A voice crackled back over the speaker. It was his translator, calling in from London. The connection was fuzzy. "Mr. McLoud, the representatives from the Jung Group are offended. They say the terms are dry. They are using a phrase, something about drinking tea without water. It's an idiom. I'm having trouble translating the nuance, sir. They are very angry." "I don't care about tea." Josh slammed his fist on the table. "I care about the $500 million capital injection. If we don't close this deal by tomorrow morning, the IPO collapses. Tell them to stop speaking in riddles and give me a yes or no." Emillia flinched at the noise. She should leave. She should go clean the bathrooms on the 40th floor and come back later. But she didn't move. She looked at the screen. It was a video feed from Shanghai, currently paused. The faces of the Jiang executives were frozen in expressions of cold, stony judgment. Emillia knew those expressions. And more importantly, she knew what they were saying. She wasn't always a cleaning lady. 5 years ago, in a life that felt like a dream now, she had been a doctoral candidate in comparative linguistics at one of the finest universities in Europe. She spoke 6 languages fluently. She had studied the intricacies of business diplomacy in East Asia, but that was before the debt, before her father's illness, before she came to America desperately needing fast cash to pay off the loan sharks who threatened to burn down her family's home back in the old country. Now her degree was a piece of paper in a suitcase, and her reality was minimum wage and anonymity. Josh kicked a chair. It skidded across the room and hit the wall with a bang. "Useless," he shouted at the phone. "You're fired. Get me someone else on the line. Get me someone who speaks Mandarin and isn't an idiot." He hung up the phone aggressively. Silence fell over the room. Heavy, suffocating. Josh leaned over the table, his head hanging low. He looked defeated. This deal was his life's work. If it failed, McLoud Global would be insolvent. He would lose everything. Emillia gripped the handle of her cart. She needed this job. She couldn't afford to be noticed. Being noticed meant questions. Questions meant trouble. "Walk away, Emillia," she told herself. Just walk away. But she saw his shoulders shaking. Just a little. The universal body language of despair. Emillia let out a quiet sigh. She hated seeing things broken. Whether it was a shattered vase or a shattered negotiation, her instinct was always to fix it. She swiped her key card. Beep. The glass door slid open. Josh spun around, his eyes wild. When he saw the blue uniform, the mop bucket, and the hairnet, his shoulders slumped in disappointment. "Not now," he snapped, turning his back to her. "Come back in the morning. I'm busy." Emillia didn't leave. She pushed her cart into the room. She started picking up the empty coffee cups from the far end of the table. "I said get out," Josh barked, not looking at her. "Can't you follow simple instructions? The room is occupied." "I need to empty the shredder bin, sir," Emillia said softly. Her voice was low, melodic, and accented, a mix of French and something Eastern European. "It is full. Fire hazard." "I don't care about the shredder," Josh yelled. "I am trying to save my company from a group of businessmen who think I'm insulting them because my translator is incompetent." He paced toward the window, looking out at the darkness. "They keep saying chabuduo, but they say it with sarcasm. And then they mentioned, what was it? A toad lusting after swan meat. Who talks like that in a business meeting?" Emillia froze. She was holding a stack of paper cups. She knew exactly what that meant. It wasn't just an insult. It was a specific cultural accusation. They thought Josh was overreaching, that he was trying to acquire their technology without offering the proper respect or partnership status. They thought he was arrogant. If he continued to push for 20% equity without addressing the respect issue, they wouldn't just walk away. They would destroy his reputation in the Asian market permanently. Josh rubbed his temples. "I'm going to lose it all," he whispered to the glass. "Because I can't understand one sentence." Emillia looked at him. She looked at the paused screen of the angry investors. She put the cups down on her cart. "They aren't talking about the money, Mr. McLoud," she said. The silence in the room changed texture. It went from chaotic to stunned. Josh turned around slowly. He looked at the cleaning lady as if a chair had just started speaking. "Excuse me?" he said, blinking. Emillia kept her head down, looking at her comfortable orthopedic shoes. She twisted her hands in her apron. "The phrase," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "Lai hama xiang chi tian eru," a toad lusting after swan meat. It means they think you are punching above your weight. But the other phrase, the one about the tea. She looked up. Her green eyes met his stunned gray ones. "They said you are serving tea without water. It means you are offering the structure of a deal, the equity, the numbers, but no substance, no relationship, no guanxi. In their culture, business is personal. You are treating it like a transaction. That is why they are offended." Josh stared at her. His mouth opened slightly, then closed. He looked at her uniform, the name tag that read Emillia, the spray bottle of Windex hanging from her belt. Then a laugh bubbled up in his throat. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was incredulous, mocking. "You?" Josh let out a sharp, dismissive chuckle. "The cleaning lady. You're giving me advice on international corporate law?" He shook his head, walking back to the table to pack up his laptop. "That's cute. Really. I appreciate the effort, but maybe stick to the trash cans, Emillia. I have actual experts working on this. Or I did until 10 minutes ago." He waved a hand at her, dismissive. "Go on. Clean the shredder. I'm leaving." Emillia felt the sting of his laughter. It burned her cheeks. She was used to being invisible, but being mocked was different. It woke up the pride she had buried deep down, the pride of the woman who had once published papers in academic journals. She shouldn't do this. She should just nod and empty the bin. But looking at this arrogant, desperate man, she couldn't help herself. "They also called you a paper tiger," Emillia said clearly. Josh stopped packing his bag. He froze. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice dropping an octave. "Just now," Emillia pointed to the screen. The audio feed was still live, though the video was paused. The executives in Shanghai were talking amongst themselves in rapid-fire, hushed Mandarin, thinking the Americans couldn't understand. "Can't you hear them?" Emillia asked, walking closer to the speakerphone. Josh looked at the phone. He heard only murmurs. "I hear noise," Josh said. "I hear a strategy," Emillia corrected. She tilted her head, listening intently to the voices from Shanghai. "Mr. Zhang is telling his vice president that you are a paper tiger. He says you look fierce, but you will fold if they wait until 4 a.m. your time. They know you are desperate for the IPO. They are planning to lower their offer by 15% in exactly..." She checked the clock on the wall. 2 hours. Josh stared at her. The skepticism was still there, but fear was creeping in behind it. "You're making this up," he whispered. "You're just guessing." "Am I?" Emillia walked to the whiteboard where Josh had written his failed counteroffers. She picked up a black marker. The smell of the marker was sharp. It reminded her of her old classroom. Mr. Zhang also just said that he misses the white peony tea from his hometown in Fujian, Emillia said, uncapping the marker, and that he finds your Thai aggressive. She wrote 4 Chinese ao characters on the board. Rapid fluid strokes, perfect calligraphy. Henyu isi, very interesting. If you want to save this deal, Mr. McLoud, Emillia said, turning to face him, the marker still in her hand, you don't need equity. You need to apologize for the dry tea. And you need to do it in their dialect, not standard Mandarin. They are from Fujian. Josh looked at the board. He looked at the characters. He looked at the woman who, 5 minutes ago, he thought only knew how to operate a vacuum cleaner. The laughter was gone. Josh McLoud froze. He realized with a jolt of electricity that ran down his spine that the most valuable asset in the building wasn't his code, or his servers, or his patent. It was the woman standing next to the trash can. Who are you? Josh whispered. Emillia capped the marker. She put it down. She shrank back into herself, becoming the cleaning lady again. I'm just the help, sir, she said softly. I can translate this for you, if you want. Josh looked at the phone, then at her. Do it, he commanded. Translate, now. Wow. Talk about a hidden talent. I have a question for you. Have you ever been underestimated by someone because of your job or how you look? Did you prove them wrong? Let me know your story in the comments below. And hit that like button if you want to see Emillia teach this arrogant CEO a lesson he'll never forget. Josh pushed the expensive Herman Miller chair toward her. Sit. Emillia hesitated. She looked at her blue uniform, stained with a speck of bleach near the hem. She looked at the $5,000 leather chair. I cannot sit, sir, she whispered. My clothes are dirty. The company is dirty, Josh said, wiping sweat from his forehead. I don't care about the upholstery. Talk to them, fix this. He hit the unmute button on the speakerphone. The room filled with the static of the connection to Shanghai. On the screen, the Zhang executives were standing up, gathering their papers, ready to leave. Mr. McLoud, the translator in London, stammered over the line. They are leaving. They say further discussion is a waste of time. Josh looked at Emillia. He didn't speak. He just signaled with his hand. Go. Emillia took a deep breath. She closed her eyes for a split second, shedding the skin of the cleaning lady. When she opened them, her posture changed. She didn't slump. She stood tall, her hands clasped respectfully in front of her apron. She leaned toward the microphone. Zhang Zong, Qing Liu Bu, she spoke. Her voice wasn't the tentative whisper she used with Josh. It was resonant, authoritative, and perfectly pitched. On the screen, Mr. Zhang stopped. He turned back to the camera, frowning. Emillia didn't switch to English. She continued in Mandarin, but then she shifted. The rhythm of her speech changed. It became more musical, softer. She was speaking the Minnan dialect, the local language of Fujian, Mr. Zhang's home province. Josh watched, mesmerized. He didn't understand a word, but he saw the reaction. Mr. Zhang's eyes widened. The stony expression cracked. He sat back down. Who is this? Mr. Zhang asked in Mandarin, leaning in. Your accent. It is from Xiamen. Are you from my village? Emillia smiled, a professional, diplomatic smile that seemed out of place under a hairnet. I am merely a humble employee of Mr. McLoud, she replied in fluent Minnan. But I have studied the history of your tea province. Mr. McLoud wishes to apologize for the dry tea. He did not mean to offer a cup without water. He simply forgot to boil the kettle because he was too eager to serve you. It was a brilliant cultural save. She framed Josh's arrogance as eagerness. She turned an insult into a compliment. Mr. Zhang let out a short, surprised laugh. He forgot to boil the kettle? Zhang repeated. That is a very poetic way to say he was rude. Not rude, Emillia corrected gently. Just American. They rush to the destination and forget to enjoy the journey. But Mr. McLoud respects the journey. That is why he is prepared to offer not just equity but a golden bridge partnership. He wants to visit Fujian personally to taste the white peony tea with you. To learn. Josh watched her. She was improvising. He hadn't agreed to visit anyone, but he stayed silent watching the master at work. Mr. Zhang looked at his VP. They whispered. Then Mr. Zhang looked at the camera, a small smile playing on his lips. Tell Mr. McLoud, Zhang said in English, his accent thick but, friendly, that if he brings a translator this skilled to China, We will boil the water together. The deal is back on the table. We will discuss the 20% tomorrow. The screen went black. The call ended. Silence rushed back into the conference room. But this time it wasn't the silence of defeat. It was the silence of awe. Josh stood there frozen. He looked at the speakerphone. Then he looked at Emillia. She was trembling slightly. The adrenaline was fading, and the reality of what she had just done was crashing in. She had stepped out of the shadows. Josh started, his voice hoarse. You just saved a $500 million deal. Emillia gripped the handle of her cleaning cart, her knuckles white. I just translated, sir. No. Josh shook his head, walking slowly around the table toward her. He looked at her like he was seeing a new species of human. You didn't just translate. You negotiated. You used a dialect I didn't even know existed. You charmed a man who has hated me for 3 months in under 3 minutes. He stopped 2 feet in front of her. He smelled the lemon cleaner on her clothes. But now, instead of disdain, he felt curiosity burning a hole in his chest. Who are you? He asked again. And don't tell me the cleaning lady. Why are you pushing a mop cart when you speak like a diplomat? Emillia took a step back, pulling the cart with her. I need to finish the shredder, sir. My shift ends in 20 minutes. If I am not done, the supervisor will write me up. Write you up? Josh laughed, incredulous. Emillia, you just made this company $500 million. You are not scrubbing toilets anymore. He walked to his desk and grabbed a notepad. I'm promoting you. Right now. I need a head of Asian relations. Or a chief strategy officer. I don't care about the title. Name your price. $100,000? $200,000. You start tomorrow morning. No uniform. He held the pen out to her. It was the golden ticket. The escape from poverty. The dream. Emillia looked at the pen. Her heart hammered against her ribs. $200,000. She could pay the debt. She could move her father to a better facility. She could stop hiding. But then, the fear gripped her throat. If she became an executive, she would be public. Her name would be on websites. Her photo would be on LinkedIn. The investors would want to vet her background. And if they found her, the men she was running from, the men who burned her family's house in the old country, they would find her father. Emillia blanched. The color drained from her face. No, she whispered. Josh blinked. Excuse me? I can't, she said, her voice rising in panic. I can't take the job. Why? Josh asked, dumbfounded. Are you holding out for more money? I'll double it, $400,000. It's not the money, Emillia snapped, backing toward the door. I am not qualified. I don't have papers. I don't have a degree. I just watch TV. I learned the language from movies. Bullshit, Josh said. You quoted classical idioms. You spoke Minnan. You are highly educated. Why are you lying to me? I'm not lying. Emillia grabbed her cart. Please, Mr. McLoud, forget this happened. I just want to clean. I just want to be left alone. She turned the cart around, ramming it into the doorframe in her haste. Emillia, wait. Josh stepped forward. Please, she begged, turning to look at him one last time. Her green eyes were filled with terror. If you want to thank me, don't tell anyone what I did. Let me keep my job. That is all I ask. She pushed the cart out into the hallway and ran. Josh stood in the doorway of the conference room. He watched the blue uniform disappear around the corner. He heard the squeak of the wheels fading away. He looked back at the empty room, at the millions of dollars she had just secured for him. She learned from movies. He scoffed to himself. Yeah, right. He walked back to his desk. He sat down and opened his laptop. He didn't open the contract for the Jang Group. He opened the internal HR database of McLoud Global. He typed, Emillia Blanche. The file loaded. It was thin, suspiciously thin. Position, custodial staff, contractor. Address, P.O. Box 492, South Chicago. Education, high school diploma, GED. References, none. Josh stared at the screen. A woman who spoke Minnan and understood complex equity negotiations did not have a GED and no references. She was a ghost, and Josh McLoud hated unsolved puzzles. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Hey, it's Josh, he said, his voice low. Yeah, I need a favor. I need a background check. Deep dive. A woman named Emillia Blanche. No, not a corporate hire. She's a mystery, and I want to know what she's running from. The next day, 6 p.m., Emillia arrived for her shift terrified. She expected to be fired. Or worse, promoted. But the hallway was quiet. She clocked in, put on her blue tunic, and grabbed her cart. She kept her head down, avoiding eye contact with the security cameras. Just do the work, she told herself. 1 more month. Then I have enough cash to move Dad to Oregon. We'll disappear again. She was cleaning the lobby mirrors when she felt a presence behind her. It wasn't a customer. The air smelled of expensive sandalwood cologne. Emillia froze, her rag hovering over the glass. You missed a spot, a voice said. She turned around. Josh McLoud was standing there, but he wasn't wearing his suit. He was wearing jeans and a black hoodie. He was holding 2 paper cups of coffee. Mr. McLoud, Emillia whispered, looking around nervously. You shouldn't be seen talking to me. It looks bad. Bad for who? Josh asked, handing her a coffee. For the CEO talking to the genius who saved his company? Or for the genius pretending to be a janitor? Emillia didn't take the coffee. I told you, sir. I learned from movies. I know, Josh nodded. I looked into it. It's amazing how many movies teach dialect-specific diplomatic conflict resolution. Which one was it? Rush Hour 2? Emillia flushed. Please, sir, leave me alone. I can't. Josh stepped closer. The playfulness vanished from his face. Because I have a problem, Emillia. The Zhang Group signed the deal this morning. But there is a condition. Emilia's stomach dropped. What condition? Mr. Zhang insists that the lady from Xiamen be present at the signing dinner tonight. He thinks you're my secret weapon. He says if you aren't there, he assumes I fired you for being smarter than me. And if I fired you, he walks. Josh looked at her intense green eyes. So here's the situation. I need you. Again. Tonight. At Le Bernardin. 8 p.m. I can't go to a gala, Emillia hissed. I have nothing to wear. I have a shift. I bought you a dress, Josh interrupted. It's in my office. I cleared your shift with the supervisor, and I booked a private car. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a whisper. I don't know who you're running from, Emillia. I tried to run a background check and it came up so clean it was obviously scrubbed. That tells me you're in trouble. But tonight, you're not Emillia, the cleaning lady. Tonight you're Emillia, my consultant. You'll be safe with me. I have security. I have power. Use it. Emillia looked at him. She saw the challenge in his eyes, but she also saw an offer of protection. If she didn't go, the deal collapsed. Josh lost everything. If she went, she risked being seen. But then she thought about the debt, the payment due next week, the extra bonus Josh would surely pay her for this. 1 night, she whispered. Just 1 night, and then you never ask me to translate again. Josh smiled. It was a victorious, dangerous smile. Deal, but I warn you, once you taste the swan meat, you might not want to go back to being a toad. I am not a toad, Mr. McLoud, Emillia said, straightening her spine, her eyes flashing fire. I am a queen in exile. Josh stared at her, stunned by the sudden flash of arrogance. Right, he breathed. A queen. Well, Your Majesty, your carriage awaits. The bathroom in Josh's executive suite was larger than Emilia's entire apartment. Emillia stood in front of the mirror. The blue tunic lay in a heap on the marble floor. On the vanity sat the box Josh had given her. She opened it. Inside lay a gown of deep emerald green silk. It was simple, backless, and terrifyingly elegant. Beside it was a pair of silver heels and a small, velvet clutch. He didn't just buy a dress, Emillia whispered, touching the fabric. He bought a disguise. She slipped into the dress. It fit as if it had been tailored for her. She pulled the hairnet off, letting her chestnut hair cascade down her back in loose waves. She found a tube of red lipstick in the clutch, a thoughtful, dangerous detail. She applied it. She looked at herself. The cleaning lady was gone. Staring back at her was the woman she used to be, the scholar, the daughter of a diplomat, the woman who discussed philosophy over champagne before the world fell apart. She took a deep breath. Just 1 night. Play the role. Save the deal. Get the money. She opened the bathroom door and stepped into the office. Josh was pacing by the window, checking his watch. He was wearing a tuxedo, classic, sharp. We're running late, Emillia. If you're not ready, we can... He turned around. The sentence died in his throat. Josh McLoud, the man who had dated supermodels and actresses, felt his heart stopped beating for a full second. Emillia stood there, the green silk pooling around her feet, her head held high. She didn't look like an employee. She looked like she owned the building. "I am ready, Mr. McLoud," she said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were trembling slightly at her sides. Josh walked toward her. He stopped a foot away, afraid to touch her, as if she were a mirage. "You look," Josh struggled for the word, "dangerous." "Good," Emillia replied, a small, sad smile playing on her lips. "Because I feel terrified." "Don't be," Josh offered his arm. "Tonight you're not alone. You're with me." Emillia looked at his arm. She hesitated, then slid her hand through the crook of his elbow. His muscles were tense, solid. "Let's go steal a dragon's heart, Mr. McLoud." Le Bernardin, 8:15 p.m. The restaurant was a sanctuary of hushed voices and clinking crystal. The air smelled of truffles and old money. When Josh and Emillia entered, heads turned, not because they recognized the CEO, but because they couldn't take their eyes off the woman in green. The Zhang delegation was already seated at a private table in the back. Mr. Zhang stood up immediately when he saw them. "Ah, the lady from Xiamen," Zhang boomed in Mandarin, ignoring Josh completely to bow to Emillia. "You have graced us with your presence." Emillia bowed back. Perfect depth, perfect posture. "The honor is mine, Zhang Zong," she replied in fluent Mandarin, her tone respectful but warm. "Mr. McLoud insisted that we could not celebrate this partnership without proper respect." She gestured to Josh. Josh smiled and nodded, feeling like the assistant in his own meeting. They sat. The dinner began. For the first hour, Josh barely spoke. He didn't have to. He watched Emillia conduct a symphony. When the wine list arrived, she didn't just order. She discussed the terroir of the Bordeaux with the sommelier in French, then explained the tasting notes to Mr. Zhang in Mandarin, comparing the vintage to a specific aged pu'er tea. When the fish arrived, she taught Josh how to serve the guest of honor first, guiding his hand with a subtle touch that sent electricity shooting up his arm. She laughed at Mr. Zhang's jokes. She deflected his questions about her background with graceful, vague answers. "I am a student of the world," she said when asked where she studied, "and a servant of curiosity." Josh watched her. He saw the way the candlelight caught the curve of her neck. He saw the intelligence shining in her eyes. He realized he wasn't just impressed, he was falling. Hard. Under the table, his knee brushed hers. She didn't pull away. "You're amazing," he whispered in English, leaning in while Zhang was distracted by the dessert. Emillia looked at him. Her mask slipped for a second. The fear came back. "I'm performing, Josh," she whispered back, using his first name for the first time. "It's an illusion." "It doesn't feel like an illusion," Josh said intensely. "It feels like the most real thing that's happened to me in years." Mr. Zhang clapped his hands. "Excellent," Zhang announced. The tea was wet, the food was divine, and the company was enchanting. "Mr. McLoud, where are the papers? I am ready to sign." Josh blinked, snapping back to business. "Right, the papers." He signaled Marcus, who was waiting at the bar. The documents were brought over. Mr. Zhang signed with a flourish. $500 million, secured. Josh felt a wave of relief, but it was overshadowed by the woman sitting next to him. He had won the company, but all he wanted to win was her. "A toast," Zhang raised his glass. "To the Golden Bridge." "To the bridge," Emillia echoed, raising her glass. Her hand was shaking again. She drank the champagne quickly. "Excuse me," she murmured to the table. "I need to visit the ladies' room." "I'll walk you," Josh said instantly, standing up. "No." Emillia put a hand on his chest. "Stay. Finish the brandy with Mr. Zhang. He likes you now. Don't ruin it." She smiled, a dazzling fake smile, and walked away toward the restrooms. Josh watched her go. He felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach that he couldn't explain. The hallway. Emillia walked fast. She needed to breathe. The corset of the dress felt like it was crushing her ribs. The pressure of maintaining the facade was exhausting. She reached the quiet hallway near the restrooms. It was lined with mirrors. She looked at herself. "You did it. You survived. Now get the bonus, pay the debt, and disappear." She opened her clutch to check her phone. No messages from her father. That was good. "Excuse me." A voice came from the shadows near the coat check. A man's voice, accented, heavy. Emillia froze. She knew that accent. It wasn't Chinese. It was from home, Slavic. She turned slowly. Standing there was a man in a dark gray suit. He was older, balding, with cold, pale blue eyes. He was holding a drink, staring at her with recognition dawning on his face. "I know you," the man said. Stepping closer, Emilia's blood turned to ice. "I think you are mistaken, sir." "No," the man smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I never forget a face, especially one that was on the news so much during the troubles." He took another step. Emillia took a step back, hitting the wall. "You are Elena," the man said. "Elena Volkov, daughter of the disgraced ambassador." Emillia stopped breathing. Elena, that was her real name, the name she had buried under Emillia Blanche. "You are mistaken," she whispered, her accent slipping. "My name is Emillia. I am a consultant." "Consultant?" The man laughed. "Is that what they call it now? Your father owes a lot of money to very dangerous people in Moscow, Elena. People who have been looking for you for 3 years. He reached out and grabbed her wrist. His grip was like iron. Imagine my surprise finding the missing daughter at a dinner with Josh McLoud. Does he know? Does he know his consultant is the daughter of a traitor who embezzled millions? "Let go of me," Emillia hissed, trying to pull away. "My father didn't embezzle anything. He was framed." "That's for the courts to decide," the man sneered. "Or the creditors. They will be very happy to know I found you. You look expensive tonight, Elena. Maybe you can pay the interest?" "Get your hands off her." The voice was low, lethal, and American. Josh McLoud stood at the end of the hallway. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't the charming CEO. He looked like a man ready to kill. The man looked at Josh, then at Emillia. He didn't let go of her wrist. "This is a private conversation, Mr. McLoud," the man said smoothly. "Just catching up with an old friend." "She doesn't look like she wants to catch up." Josh walked forward. His strides were long and aggressive. "And she asked you to let go." "You don't know who she is," the man warned. "She's a liability, Josh. A fugitive. I know exactly who she is." Josh lied, not breaking eye contact. He stopped inches from the man. "She's my partner. And if you don't take your hand off her in the next 1 second, I will have security break every finger on it." The man looked at Josh's eyes. He saw the absolute resolve. He released Emilia's wrist. Emillia stumbled back, rubbing the red marks on her skin. She was shaking violently. "Smart choice," Josh said. He stepped between Emillia and the man, using his body as a shield. "Now walk away, before I decide to ruin your night." The man straightened his jacket. He looked at, Emillia over Josh's shoulder. "Run while you can, Elena," the man whispered. "The debt always comes due." He turned and walked back into the restaurant. Josh waited until he was gone. Then he spun around to face her. "Emillia," he said urgently, reaching for her. "Don't," she gasped, backing away. "Don't touch me." "He hurt you," Josh said, seeing the red marks on her wrist. Anger flared in his eyes. "He knows me," Emillia whispered, tears spilling over. "He knows my name. He knows where I am. I have to go. I have to leave. Now." "Who was he?" Josh demanded. "He called you Elena. Is that your name?" "It doesn't matter," Emillia cried. "They will come for me, Josh. And if I stay, they will come for you too. They will destroy your company just to get to my father." She grabbed her skirt, hiking it up so she could run. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I should never have put on the dress." "Emillia, wait!" Josh lunged for her, grabbing her hand. "Stop running. I can protect you." "No, you can't," she screamed, ripping her hand away. "You deal with shareholders, Josh. These men deal with bullets. You can't fix this." She turned and ran toward the service exit. She pushed through the heavy doors and vanished into the night. Josh stood alone in the hallway of the expensive restaurant. The applause from the dining room echoed faintly. He had closed the deal. He had won. But as he looked at the empty space where she had stood, he realized he had lost the only thing that mattered. "Elena," he whispered, tasting the name. He pulled out his phone. "Marcus," he said, his voice shaking with rage. "Cancel my morning meetings and get the security team ready. We have a problem, and I'm going to fix it." Rain slicked the streets of South Chicago. It wasn't the polite drizzle of the city center. It was a deluge that turned potholes into ponds. Elena, formerly Emillia, sat in the back of a smelling yellow taxi, shivering. She had ripped the hem of the emerald gown to run faster. Her silver heels were ruined. "Faster, please," she begged the driver. "Lady, I'm doing 40. You want me to fly?" She looked out the rear window. No black SUVs, no headlights following them. Maybe she had lost them. Maybe she had lost Josh. The thought made her chest ache. For 3 hours, she had felt like a queen. She had felt seen. And then reality had crashed the party like a brick through a window. "Here," she said, tossing a crumpled $20 bill at the driver. She jumped out before the car, fully stopped. She ran toward a peeling gray apartment complex that looked like it was held together by mold and bad luck. She didn't take the elevator. It was broken. She ran up 4 flights of stairs, the expensive dress rustling like dry leaves. She fumbled with her keys. Her hands were shaking so badly she dropped them. Come on," she sobbed, picking them up. She unlocked the door and burst inside. The apartment was tiny. 1 room, a mattress on the floor, a hot plate, and in the corner, a hospital bed that took up half the space. A frail, gray-haired man lay in the bed, hooked up to a beeping monitor that looked like it was bought from a surplus store. "Papa," Elena whispered, rushing to him. The man opened his eyes. They were milky, confused. "Elena," he rasped. "Is it time for the reception? You look beautiful, like your mother." Elena choked back a sob. Her father, Nikolai Volkov, once a brilliant ambassador who negotiated peace treaties, now a man who drifted in and out of reality, oblivious that they were fugitives. "Yes, Papa," she lied, stroking his forehead, "but the reception is over. We have to leave. We have to go on a trip." She grabbed a duffel bag. She started throwing things in: medicine, socks, a stack of cash hidden in a coffee can. Bang, bang, bang. Someone pounded on the front door. Elena froze. The duffel bag dropped from her hand. They found her, all ready. She looked around for a weapon. A knife? A lamp? There was nothing. Just the reality that she was trapped 4 stories up with a bedridden man. "Elena, open the door." It wasn't a Russian accent. It was American. Elena blinked. She crept to the door. She looked through the peephole. It was Josh. He was soaking wet. His tuxedo jacket was gone. His white shirt was plastered to his chest, translucent with rain. He looked furious and terrified. Elena unlocked the deadbolt. She opened the door. "You," she breathed. "How did you find me?" Josh pushed past her into the apartment, locking the door behind him and engaging the chain. "You took a taxi," Josh panted, wiping rain from his eyes. "I have the Uber app on my phone. I tracked the drop-off of every taxi that left the restaurant radius in the last 20 minutes. There were only 3. 2 went to the suburbs, 1 came to the slums." He looked at her. He looked at the ruined dress. Then he looked around the apartment. His eyes landed on the hospital bed, on the frail old man. Josh stopped. His anger evaporated, replaced by a profound, heartbreaking realization. "This is him?" Josh whispered. "The ambassador?" Elena nodded, wrapping her arms around herself. "He had a stroke after the trial. He doesn't remember the embezzlement charges. He doesn't remember that his deputy framed him and stole the money. He just remembers the good days." Josh walked slowly toward the bed. He looked at the medical equipment. It was old, held together with duct tape. "You're working as a cleaning lady to pay for his meds," Josh stated. "You're hiding in a hole to keep him safe." "The men who framed him," Elena whispered. "They want him dead, Josh. If he testifies, they go to jail. That man at the restaurant, Victor, he's their cleaner. If he finds us, he won't," Josh said firmly. He turned to her. He took her hands. They were cold as ice. "Pack his things," Josh commanded. "We're leaving." "Where?" "I have nowhere to go. No money. Victor will check the airports, the train stations. We aren't going to a station," Josh said. "I have a helicopter on the roof of my building, and I have a private island in the Caribbean with no extradition treaty and a full medical facility." Elena stared at him. "Why?" "Because," Josh stepped closer, his gray eyes burning with intensity. "You saved my company tonight, Elena. You saved my reputation. Did you really think I wouldn't save you back? It's dangerous, Josh. These are bad men. I'm a bad man too," Josh said darkly. "I'm a CEO. I destroy people for a living. I just usually do it with spreadsheets. Tonight I might have to improvise." Suddenly, the sound of heavy tires crunched on the gravel outside. Josh moved to the window. He peered through the cracked blinds. A black SUV had pulled up to the curb. 2 men got out. One of them was Victor. The other was a giant who looked like he bent steel bars for fun. They weren't knocking. They were pulling guns from their jackets. "Damn it," Josh cursed. "They tracked me tracking you." "They're here?" Elena gasped, rushing to the window. "Get away from the glass." Josh pulled her back. He looked at the door. It was a flimsy wooden slab. It wouldn't hold a determined toddler, let alone a Russian hitman. Josh looked at the bedridden father, then at the fire escape window. "We can't move him down the fire escape," Josh said, his mind racing. "Not fast enough." "I'm not leaving him," Elena cried. "I know," Josh said. He pulled out his phone. "Marcus?" "Yeah." Panic button. Level red. "I'm at the address I sent you. I need the cavalry. And I need it 30 seconds ago." He hung up. "Block the door," Josh ordered Elena. "Push the dresser in front of it." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to buy us time." Josh walked to the center of the room. He grabbed a chair. He sat down facing the door. He picked up Elena's phone from the table. "What are you doing?" Elena grunted, shoving the heavy dresser across the floor. "I'm going live," Josh said calmly. He opened Instagram. Josh. McLoud. Official. 12 million followers. He hit go live. "Hey guys," Josh said to the phone, putting on his best tech bro smile though his hands were shaking. "Sorry for the late night stream, but I'm currently in South Chicago, about to be murdered." The viewer count skyrocketed instantly. 1,000, 5,000, 20,000. "I'm here with Elena Volkov," Josh continued, turning the camera to show Elena, who ducked, and the room. "And outside this door are 2 men working for the Volkov crime syndicate. Their names are Victor and, well, let's call the big one Tiny." Crack. The door splintered. A boot kicked the wood right near the lock. "Hear that?" Josh shouted at the phone. "That's the sound of international espionage meeting American breaking and entering. I'm tagging the Chicago PD and the FBI in this stream. If the feed cuts out, you guys know who to blame." Crash. The door flew open, knocking the dresser back a few inches. Victor stood there, gun raised. He saw Josh. He saw the phone. He saw the comments flying by on the screen at light speed. "OMG, is he serious? Call 911, recording this." Victor froze. A hitman thrives in the dark. He cannot shoot a billionaire CEO on a live stream with 50,000 witnesses. "Smile, Victor," Josh said cheerfully, holding the phone up like a shield. "You're trending on Twitter." Victor lowered the gun, covering his face with his hand. "You crazy American fool. Put the gun down." Josh dropped the smile. His voice became ice cold. "The police are 2 minutes away. My private security is 1 minute away. You can kill us, but you'll never leave this building alive. Is it worth it?" Victor calculated. He looked at Elena. He looked at the sick old man. Then he looked at the phone. He holstered the gun. "This isn't over, Elena," Victor hissed. "The stream will end. The police will leave. And we will be waiting." He spit on the floor and backed out of the doorway. "Let's go," he signaled to the giant. They ran down the stairs. Josh held the phone steady until he heard the SUV tires screech away. Then, and only then, did he end the stream. He dropped the phone. He slumped forward, putting his head between his knees. He was hyperventilating. "Oh my God," he wheezed. "I thought that wasn't going to work." Elena stared at him. She was trembling. She walked over and knelt beside him. She reached out and touched his wet hair. "You are insane," she whispered. "You just live-streamed your own death. It worked." Josh looked up. His face was pale, but he grinned. "Disruption. It's what I do." Sirens wailed in the distance. Real ones this time. "The police are coming," Elena said fearfully. "They'll arrest my father. The warrant is still active." "No." Josh stood up, pulling her with him. "Marcus is almost here. We're going out the back way before the cops arrive. My team will extract your father in a medical van. We take the helicopter." He gripped her shoulders. "Tonight you stop being a fugitive, Elena. Tonight you become my problem. And I solve problems." Elena looked at him. For 5 years she had been alone. She had carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. Looking at Josh, this arrogant, brilliant, reckless man who had just used Instagram as a weapon, she felt the weight lift. "Okay," she whispered. "Take us away." The rooftop, McLoud Global. The helicopter blades chopped the air, deafening and powerful. Josh helped Elena onto the skid. She climbed into the leather seat. Marcus was already in, the back securing the stretcher where her father lay sedated and safe. Josh climbed in next to her. He buckled her in. "Where are we going?" she shouted over the noise. "Somewhere with no cell service," Josh shouted back. "And really good tea." The helicopter lifted off. Elena looked down. She saw the city of Chicago shrinking below her. She saw the building where she had scrubbed toilets. She saw the slums where she had hidden. They were all getting smaller, disappearing into the darkness. She felt a hand take hers. Josh was holding her hand. He wasn't looking at the city, he was looking at her. "Thank you," she mouthed. Josh shook his head. "Translate for me later." He leaned back, exhausted but triumphant. They were safe, for now. But as the helicopter banked toward the lake, Josh's phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. He pulled it out. It wasn't a notification from Instagram. It was a text from an unknown number. Unknown. "Smart move, Mr. McLoud. But you can't fly forever. We have assets in the Caribbean too. See you soon." Josh stared at the screen. A cold chill went through him. He looked at Elena, who had closed her eyes, finally resting. He didn't tell her. He deleted the text. He gripped her hand tighter. The war wasn't over. It had just moved to a new battlefield. The island was a fortress disguised as paradise. White sand beaches, turquoise water, and a villa equipped with military-grade servers and satellite uplinks. Elena walked onto the terrace holding a cup of tea. She wore a simple white linen dress, her hair loose in the tropical breeze. She looked healthy. The fear that had haunted her eyes for years was gone, replaced by a calm vigilance. Josh was sitting at the patio table, surrounded by screens. He was shirtless, tanned, and currently yelling at a monitor. "I don't care about the firewall, Marcus," Josh shouted into his headset. "Just patch the encryption key. If the firewall drops for even a second, they can trace our location." On the screen, Marcus, back in Chicago, running the company in Josh's absence, nodded nervously. "I'm on it, boss. But the board is getting restless. They want to know when the CEO is coming back from his sabbatical. Tell them I'm developing a new tan," Josh snapped. "And Marcus? Any chatter on the dark web about the Volkov syndicate?" "Quiet as a grave, Josh. Maybe they gave up." "They never give up," Josh muttered, ripping the headset off. He looked up and saw Elena. His expression softened instantly. "Hey," he said, reaching for her hand. "How is Nikolai?" "He's lucid today," Elena smiled, sitting on his lap. Something she did naturally now. The tropical air agrees with him. He remembers. Josh stiffened. "He remembers the money? He remembers where he hid the evidence," Elena whispered. "It wasn't a physical file, Josh. It's a digital ledger. He hid it inside a dormant server in the Russian Treasury network. He just gave me the access codes." Josh's eyes widened. "If we can access that ledger, we can prove the deputy stole the money, we can clear his name, we can go home. But to access it," Elena warned, "we have to ping the server. Victor's hackers will see it. It will be a beacon lighting up exactly where we are. Let them see." Josh grinned, the old arrogant CEO returning. "I've been bored anyway. Let's finish this." The war room. They spent the next hour setting up the trap. Josh wrote a script to extract the data and blast it, simultaneously to Interpol, the FBI, and the New York Times. "Ready?" Josh asked, his finger hovering over the enter key. Elena stood beside him, her hand on his shoulder. "Ready?" Josh pressed the key. The screens flashed green. Connecting. Access granted. Downloading. Ledger. "It's working." Josh laughed. "Look at that. Transfers to Cayman accounts owned by the deputy. It's all here." The smoking gun. Suddenly the lights in the villa flickered. The screens went black. Then they turned. Red. System lockdown. Override by admin. Marcus. Josh froze. "What?" His headset crackled to life. It wasn't the secure line. It was the villa's intercom. "Sorry, Josh." Marcus's voice echoed through the room. "But the Volkovs offered me something you didn't. Equity." "Marcus!" Josh shouted. "What did you do?" "I lowered the perimeter shields," Marcus said calmly. "They've been on the south side of the island for an hour, waiting for my signal. You really should have paid me more, Josh." Crash. The glass doors of the terrace shattered. Victor stepped through the debris, flanked by 4 armed mercenaries. He looked older, sweatier, and much angrier than he had in Chicago. "Hello, Elena," Victor sneered, raising an assault rifle. "No Instagram Live today, no cell service." Josh jumped in front of Elena. "Victor, let's talk numbers. Whatever they're paying Marcus, I'll double it. It's not about money anymore, Paper Tiger." Victor spat. "It's about honor. You humiliated me." He signaled. The guards. "Grab the girl. Kill the American. Burn the servers." 2 guards lunged. Josh threw a laptop at one, tackling him, but the other slammed the butt of a rifle into Josh's stomach. Josh doubled over, gasping. "Josh!" Elena screamed. Victor grabbed Elena by her hair. pulling her face close to his. "Where is the old man? I want him to watch you die." Elena looked at Josh on the floor. She looked at the red screens. The upload was paused at 99%. Marcus had locked it. She had seconds. She looked at Victor. She saw the rage in his eyes, but she also saw something else. He was a traditionalist, a man of honor, as he claimed. She switched to Russian. Her voice wasn't fearful. It was the voice of the ambassador's daughter. "Victor," she said coldly, "you speak of honor? You are taking orders from an American secretary?" Victor paused. "What?" Elena nodded toward the intercom speaker where Marcus was still breathing heavily. "Marcus betrayed his own boss for money," Elena said, her voice dripping with disdain. "In our world, what do we do to traitors, Victor? Do we pay them, or do we silence them?" Victor frowned. "He sold out Josh," Elena continued, pressing her advantage. "He will sell you out too. Once you kill us, Marcus keeps the evidence. He will blackmail you forever. You are just his hired gun, his janitor." Victor's eye twitched. The word janitor hit a nerve. "Is this true?" Victor shouted at the intercom. "Marcus, do you have a copy of the ledger?" Marcus's voice stammered over the speakers. "Victor, just shoot them. Don't listen to her. He stutters." Josh gasped from the floor, catching onto Elena's play. "He's lying, Victor. He's recording this right now to sell to the CIA." Victor looked at the speaker, then at his men. "I hate traitors," Victor growled. He raised his rifle, not at Elena, but at the main control panel of the house, specifically the comms unit connected to Chicago. Blam, blam, blam. He shot the comms unit. Marcus's connection was severed instantly. "Now," Victor turned back to Elena. "No more loose ends. I kill you myself." But the distraction was enough. While Victor was shooting the panel, Josh had rolled to the server rack. He pulled a single cable, the hardline override. With Marcus cut off, the local system rebooted. The red screen turned green. Upload complete. Ping, ping, ping. Phones started buzzing in the pockets of the mercenaries. Victor's satellite phone rang. "What?" Victor barked into the sow. Phone. His face went pale. "It's everywhere," he whispered. "The news? Interpol?" Josh stood up, wiping blood from his mouth. He leaned against the server rack, grinning. "You might want to check your email, Victor," Josh said. "I just sent the ledger to every major news outlet in the world, and to the Kremlin. Your boss, the deputy, he's being arrested right now on live TV." Victor lowered the phone. He looked at Elena. He looked at Josh. He realized it was over. The contract was void. His employer was gone. Victor shook his head. "You two are the devil." "No." Elena straightened her dress. "We are just very good negotiators." Victor listened. In the distance, the sound of approaching sirens, not police cars, but U.S. Coast Guard cutters, could be heard over the waves. The automated distress beacon had triggered. Victor dropped his gun. "I surrender." Josh walked over to Elena. He wrapped his arm around her. They stood together, watching the mercenaries drop their weapons as the cavalry arrived to sweep up the mess. "You realized he hated Marcus more than he hated us," Josh whispered, impressed. "Cultural nuance," Elena winked. "A toad hates a snake more than he hates a swan." Epilogue. 6 months later, Chicago. The lobby of McLoud Global was gleaming. A group of new interns stood nervously by the elevators waiting for orientation. "I heard the CEO is terrifying," one intern whispered. "He fired his last assistant for treason." "I heard the co-CEO is worse," another whispered. "She speaks 7 languages and can tell if you're lying just by looking at your shoes." The elevator doors opened. Josh and Elena walked out. They were a power couple personified. Josh in a tailored suit, Elena in a sharp white blazer and pants. They held hands, fingers interlaced, rings shining. They walked past the reception desk. "Good morning, Mr. McLoud." "Good morning, Ms. Volkov," the receptionist beamed. "Morning, Sarah." Josh smiled. They passed a cleaning cart parked in the hallway. A young man was struggling to empty a heavy trash bin. Elena stopped. She let go of Josh's hand and walked over to the young cleaner. "Here," Elena said gently. "Lift with your knees, not your back, and tilt the bin 45 degrees. It slides out easier." She demonstrated, helping him lift the heavy bag effortlessly. The young cleaner stared at her, stunned. Thank you, ma'am. How did you know that?" Elena smiled. She looked at Josh, who was watching her with pure adoration. "I used to work here," Elena said. I started in the conference room. She patted the cleaner on the shoulder. Keep your eyes open, she advised him, and never let anyone tell you that you're just the help. You might be the only one who knows where the dirt is hidden. She walked back to Josh. Ready for the board meeting, co-CEO? Josh asked, offering his arm. Ready. Elena took it. But if they start using idioms again, I'm raising my fee. Deal. They walked into the boardroom, the doors closing behind them on a world they had conquered together. Not with money, but with the courage to translate their own destiny. What a ride. From a mop bucket to the boardroom, Emillia, or should I say Elena, proved that brilliance can't be hidden forever. I have a question for you. Elena forgave Josh for his initial arrogance, and Josh forgave Elena for her secrets. Do you think relationships built on secrets can ever truly work? Or were they just lucky? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you loved this hidden genius story, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow, we have a story about a pizza delivery guy who accidentally interrupts a secret society meeting and has to pretend he's the grand master to survive. Thanks for watching.